Hello, 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 Shirley Ross, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I am going to share with you a card I created. It is a Peekaboo card. It's kind of cool. When you open it, a piece slides through and shows you the sentiment. So I think that's really cool. I was stamping the Ottoway, was the YouTube video that I watched, and I've done one with just the tone-on-tone using the Extraordinary Floral, the washi tape, and the stamp set. With the die, I just used the die and the stamp set. So I put it on a piece of, I cut 3.5 by 8.5 piece, and I put the washi tape on it, and then I ran it through the die cutting machine and gave me all kinds of pieces. This is going to be one of my coffee and cards for this month, because my girls do like to have pop-up cards. They like fun folds. So what we're going to start with is what you're going to need, and it's 2 sheets of cardstock. Now you can see I used 2 different, I did a white willow and I did Secret Sea for this one, but I just did basic white totally for this one. So it's up to you. I'm just going to use basic white in the instructions. So the first piece we're going to cut is going to be, I changed it from the card that I saw on the YouTube was a bigger card, but I changed it down to an A2. So we are going to start with a 8.5. Let me make sure I've got my numbers over here. No, 4.25 by 8, and then we're going to score it at 5.5. So that will give us our 5.5 piece. We're going to cut a piece that's 4.25 by 6, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to cut one that is 4.25 by 8.5, and we're going to score it in the center. All right, and so then the first thing you're going to do is take this piece and fold it on the score line. And if you have a bone folder, which I have an old one of my old close to my heart ones. All right, and then I also cut a piece. This is going to be this piece here, and I cut it at 4 by 5.25. And what I will do is I will take it, and using some repositionable tape I have in my stash, I'm going to go ahead and attach it here, because I want to make this one cut on both of them. I'm going to open this up, and then I am going to get my die, and I'm going to place it about maybe not quite 3/4 inch, and then I'm going to center it. I'll use my washi tape, and I'll put it through the die cutting machine, and it will come out like that. I'll move this out of the way. All right, magic of television. Then you're going to take this piece, and we're going to fold it on the score line. And this will be a 4.25 by 4.25 square. We are going to line it up with the front so that where it opens, make sure the opening is there, and just make sure it's lined up. And then you're going to take your pencil and you're going to draw a line, a circle, like that. Now, if you are going to create a card like this one, where I put paper on the inside, put the paper on first, and these are 4 by 4 squares, because this should be 4.25 by 4.25. So you put those on first before you cut the circles. Now, once you've marked it, of course I dropped that piece, then you can bring in your die and put it on here. Now, if you just, like when I just did the single, I can run it through with it closed and cut both pieces at the same time. However, if you put paper on it, then you may need to run it through like this, and once it's gone through, then you'll close it, draw a circle, and then come back in and put your circle on the inside, just because that would be 4 layers of paper, and it might just be really hard for you to put it through your die cut. So once you're done, you'll have a piece that looks like this. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take the back piece and you're just going to fold it on that 1/2 inch piece, and now it's time to put it together. So I'm going to move my die out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my ink. I'm using Memento ink, and I am using the stamp set Branching Out. It's one of the new ones. I like the hello, I like the happiest birthday wishes, I like the friend, I like all of these. Thinking of you brings joy to my heart. So there's a lot of good sentiment. So I'm going to use that stamp set. It is a clear, and if you have heard, we're going to straight clear stamp sets with Stampin' Up, which I think is cool. Let me pick up the piece I need. All right, the next thing you want to make sure is that, because you may not be perfect, you want to make sure that you put this in the way you drew it out. All right. And the other thing I need to get is the piece. There it is. All right. So once I cut this piece out, remember when I attached it here and I cut it out, I went ahead and put this through with an embossing folder. And I just picked an embossing folder that I had in my stash. This will go on last. Just remember, when you're putting it through, after you've already got the hole cut, make sure you have the embossed and debossed side the way you want it, because it's not something you can flip over and do the other way. So direction is important. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach this piece to the front. I call this the mechanism piece, and this is the card front. So we're going to put some adhesive, and I like liquid adhesive for cards. That is something new that I have started using since I've come to Stampin' Up. I like having that little bit of time. Now we want to make sure that we line up the edges. We have a few minutes to move it around to make sure we have it on there. There we go. All right. So that's the front. Now this is going to be the piece that that's going to slide in, this back part, but we want to put a back on the card itself, and that is this piece. So we are going to put some adhesive on that 1/2 inch piece. This is really an easy card. Once you put it together a couple of times, it's really simple. Now we want to line up this edge of the card. The key is just lining up everything. We want it to be even on all the edges. There we go. All right, and I left this out while I did that. It'll go on the inside when you're done, and then when you open it, that's what slides through. You just want to make sure that everything is in there so it slides nicely. All right, so then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp the sentiment, and this is going to be on the back side of the card is where the sentiment will go. So this is actually, even though it's on the back side of the card, it's actually the sentiment that you see first. So I'm going to just use the hello. The cool thing about this stamp set too is it has a lot of distressing. It's got some big dots and some little dots. So if you like to distress, but you don't feel like you're really good at it, then you can, sorry, I'm stamping. I don't want to, there we are. But if you don't feel you're good at it, you can use a stamp set that has distressing. So that's the piece. All right, so now we're going to do this piece, and this piece is actually one of the circles that you cut. All right, and I used a different edge. At the moment, I can't remember the name of the die that this comes from, but I love it. It was one of the first ones that I got. All right, let's see. I've been doing birthday because I have been out of the birthday ones. But I think I might want to do one of the friend ones. Let's see. if it'll fit. This is the thinking of you. I think it's going to be a little too long. It'll go all the way across. All right, I'm going to clean the stamp off. I like the scrubber. That's just my preference. So I have my scrubber out. And I'll put my stamp away because you never know when you might lose one. I'm going to pick this one up. Since I have several of these, if it turns out that I don't like the way it looks, then I always have another one to work with. So then I'm going to do that. That's okay. I like that. That'll be fine. Okay. So let's put the stamp away. And let's close up the ink. I just got a new Memento ink, so now I have two. So when I do my card classes, that'll be nice. All right, so what we're going to do now, I think I folded that one a little off. Yeah, it's a little off when I put it on there. So you just have to be careful. What you can do is trim that off, because you're not going to see it because it's going to be on the inside. But just keep that in mind, that that's the one thing you want to try not to do, is to be crooked with it. And of course, you know, I'm on screen, so I'm going to be crooked. So I'm going to put some adhesive on here. Now, if you have a really cute pattern paper that has a cute, the video I saw, one of the cards she made, she used the otter paper that we had and had a little otter in the middle. We want to make sure you want to get it right in the center where that you cut it out. All right. I want to be careful with the adhesive if it comes through those little slots there. All right, and then it will close and it will open. Awesome. And then you can take some of these. Oh, we need our emboss piece right here. All right. And I tried to do it so it would be, yeah, I can see where I was off just a little on that one. But that's okay. That's what makes it homemade, right? So you can either put that directly on there, or you can do as I did and add some dimensionals on there to pop it up. And I have been using up, I have a bunch of dimensionals that I get with different kits, and I have some that I had from when I was with Close to My Heart. So I'm going to use up some of these. And I'm all into using what you have up before you buy new. And if you're like me, I like lots of dimensionals. I don't want it to get squished down when it goes through the post office. I'm working on getting my glass mat so it will sit flatter on my plastic table. It sits a little funny, so my mat doesn't lay totally flat. All right, then we're going to take off all of these, and you can use your piercing tool to help, your pokey tool. These ones are pretty big. I love the dimensional, Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. Those are what I usually get in the kits. However, I want to use up what I have so that I don't want to be wasteful. I think that's the last one. All right, now we're going to line that up. And again, you want to be kind of careful how you line it up so that, especially with the dimensionals, I'm not going to have a lot of movement there. All right, so that's on. And my garbage behind me, so I can throw those away. And then you can decide what flowers you want. I used the kind of salmon color with the green. I think I might do the ones with kind of the bluish green look to them. And you just kind of lay them out until you get it just the way you want. This one is kind of cute. That looks good, like that. It's nice that they kind of curve just a little bit. And you could do one down here so you have one from both sides. I like that. And since it's on the, it's not just the washi tape, it's actually on cardstock, so it's nice and sturdy, almost like having a sticker. I'm trying to make sure I put the adhesive on the side that's going to be on the card base, just so I have a little room to play with around the edge of the card base, the card front. There we go. Just want to make sure I don't cover up the sentiment. There we are. Let's see if there's anything else in here that has a little of that. You just want to be careful. If you're like me, sometimes I can get a little carried away and add a few extra too many. I like that. There we are. So you have the inside. If you want to add something, as you can see on the inside of this one, I added some to the bottom. So if you want to add something to the bottom, just make sure that you put it onto the inside. Oh, this one curves really pretty. That's nice. It's just a matter of seeing where you want to put it. I like it like that, but I need something else. It's just a matter of flipping things over. Let's see if there's another, what color were the flowers? They were the purple. Okay, so I can add a little purple flower like right there. I mean, just a little bit if it's going to show. So that's something you can also add. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, this is a Peekaboo card. This is Shirley Ross Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. The stamp set that I used Memento ink. The stamp set that I used was the branching out with the coordinating die. I used basic white. And then in this one, I used the Peaceful Garden. I believe that's the paper pack. And then I just used some die cuts that I had. This is from the B stamp set. I'm not sure if it's still available. So I just used different. This paper is also from the Peaceful Days. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. And the washi tape, it is back in stock. Bye. Enjoy.